Curtis, I know when I was talking to you earlier and you mentioned Usain Bolt and Carl Lewis, so would you say that Nick is a generational track talent?
Potentially. Now it's on the other foot. Yeah, if you say things like that, you got to be able to deliver uh, on a gifted person. Uh, Marion Jones was gifted. Terrence Mills was gifted. Uh, Bolt was gifted. Carl Lewis, I tried to sign him. He was gifted. This is one of the, I would think, one of the ones with the potential of a lifetime. I thought after Bolt, it took 30 years between Bolt and Carl Lewis. It didn't take 30 years to see this guy. Uh, I don't think anybody in this room or even the hotness of the internet, I don't think they get it. Uh, Coach's whole staff went down to watch him sprint, and I think they've seen a guy from West Virginia that ended up playing in the league named Randy Moss, and they knew Randy was fast and tall, and this is and I think the offensive coordinator he actually got up almost on the table to design a play or a plan where it had to be two people. I'm not big on the football guy over top and a guy on front and post and it's gone. It's he's just different. He changes a lot of things if the ifs.
As a high school sprinter, who are some other sprinters you saw in high school you would compare him to?
There are none. I mean, Carl, his acceleration is similar to Carl, except Carl didn't run 10.2 as a 17-year-old. When we recruited Carl, I was at NC State, and his senior year, Carl ran 10.2 and jumped 26 feet. His acceleration pattern is as good as Carl and Leroy, who were both broke American records and ran 9.7s. I just don't know if his power is as good as I try to tell him. They're trying to get him to run in New York next weekend against the pros. The difference in talent and speed is maturity. It's just hard. He's a young person with a gift, and those are grown men that's got to feed families, and it's the power it takes to get going. I don't think he's that powerful. He's running against people his own age right now, so he can accelerate with them. But when you throw a 25-year-old, 27-year-old guy who's got twins that got to get paid, they got to get fed, he'll see a whole different story for a little while. You get hurt doing it. Bolt got hurt early on when he was 18, trying to accelerate with Justin Gatlin and those kind of people. So it's a process. Everybody got to follow. He's going to have to follow a process in football. And I just hope people don't press him too much he can't do things. This program's already in great shape, as Coach says. They recruited. He's a great piece. He's gonna be a great piece to track because we haven't had in the last 10 years 5-star athletes. We developed 3 stars to get us to where we're 15th in the country. He's truly, for me, a guy that can make 3 stars better. I'd love to have him on an anchor leg. Them other 3 guys run harder. They get hurt a lot trying to train with him, though. So I got to be careful.
Coach, we know, of course, a lot of football players come from track backgrounds, and maybe vice versa. I guess in the case of Nick Harbor, I guess in what ways does some of his maybe football training mechanics help him with track, and then on the other side, how much does track and track mechanics help him as a football player?
The toughness of football always works. Terrence Shamel was a football player first, because what they do is they do a lot of 40s, and that's acceleration practice, and they do it in fatigue. Whenever you just keep running back and forth 40 yards and you're throwing up and you don't want to let your teammate down, that's acceleration building. That means that when the rest of the guys in track get soft in the middle of the run, he doesn't. That's been developed. So it's a matter of having a few weeks with him and not getting excited and try to make him Olympic. The first 2 weeks he comes out for track and get him hurt, and to let him get conditioned for track. So It's a benefit, always has been. When I coached at Florida, it was. When I had Danny Peebles at North Carolina State, it was. But you have to give them time to get there. If they don't get the 15 pounds, makes a big difference. 5 pounds per foot pressure is 50 pounds per stride at max speed. No matter how strong you get, if you get big enough after you get about 40 meters, 40 yards, then that 50 pounds start making you squat down. This kid is bright, though, and understands. He set up a workout for us while we were in the room, explaining to us what he had been through last year in running 300 yards. And last year, in 45 seconds, he ran 385 yards. This year, he ran 398. He almost ran 45 seconds. For a guy that's 6'6", 235, to run 45 seconds. That means I can run him a lot more 100s without him getting hurt because he won't be tired. Football can run him a lot more routes in practice, and he won't be tired. I mean, the quarterback gets tired before he gets tired.
Curtis, you mentioned sprints and the relay. Are there any other events that he could potentially participate in? And also, while this recruitment was going on, how often did you meet with him, talk with him over social media or texting?
I talked with him one time, and it was in the summertime when we had a Zoom call with the family. The rest of the time, Coach Brown contacted him, and the coaching staff and coach would text Coach Brown and said, "I need you to get this guy today." And then when it was time for me to talk to him, Coach had me to come in and talk on the Zoom call. The next time I was leaving my office, headed to New York last week, I came across the field at a home football game to meet with Nick the weekend. And that was a good visit. He knew who I was. The guy's on top of things. He knows who I coached, when I coached, how fast our second best guy is, our best guy. No, this guy's a bright guy. And so, and when Coach talks about relationships, he picked us because of relationships. I ain't blowing smoke. Our football staff and our head football coach knew earlier than we did, and had a relationship before us. It was it's unique. I was in on a lot of recruiting around here in football, and the relationships. I've been in a lot of recruiting battles from the time I left Florida or at North Carolina State or Chapel Hill. I can call Coach and he'll pick my phone call up. There's been a lot of times I've called football coaches and I don't get the head football guy pick it up. That makes me feel like when I tell a kid something's going to happen, I don't have to go through position coaches who are under pressure to keep their room full. And sometimes that happens when you get a talented kid. But this here is a relationship where I think his parents felt like they have a commitment and a relationship with a family member. And Coach Beamer was a family member to that group of people. So if anything's going a certain way, they'll call Coach, and they couldn't call these Johnny-come-latelys. But they feel like they can. His sister was very instrumental and felt that way. That's what I got out of the room. The new people that come on to help be his directors and all of that, they couldn't cut through the relationship. In the last minute, that's what was trying to get happen. But he built too much. The dog, the kids. I mean, the guy did a whole lot of stuff that. I mean, I've been with Coach Spurrier. I've been in rooms with Coach Holtz. I've been in the room 2 times with Coach Spurrier. I never had a dog in the room. That one right there. Me and Wilma gonna get a dog. That was a cool one. I got grandchildren I had in the room before, but a dog. That's digging. That's freaking digging. Yes, sir.
Curtis, just today, what was today like in communication with Coach Beamer and your staff? And when you see Nick officially sign, what was that moment like for you and your program to go?
I'm still tingling, man. Because I've had a few of them around. Clowney hung out in the room. He was real. He came over. He couldn't run track. He was the anchor leg at 260 pounds. He was running down people at the anchor leg and get second in the state. I faked that he's going to run track. He was never a chance that he's going to run track. I knew he's going to get up to 280. So that was this right here. This guy get to run, and then that's how I felt when they were excited me. It put some excitement back into me. I'm 71 years old. Retirement, people ask me that all the time. It'd be hard for me to retire on this guy because this guy is generational. And every once in a while, you run into the opportunity to coach a generation. I want to coach a generation guy. The world knows this guy. Trust me. In Nigeria, they know this guy. They got a 991 17-year-old. In Botswana, the guy that last summer broke the world 20, like Nick knows them. And so Nick wants to beat them and be 980. And that's so the whole world, IAAF knows that guy. They're interested in where that guy is. USA Track and Field, they know where that guy is today. It's not just football or South Carolina, as Coach said, sign a world-level guy that plays football. And the whole world knows who he is. If I don't come through, the world says that guy's over the hill and can't get it done. If he doesn't come through, and then they're going to say that offense doesn't fit. When you sign this kind of freak, the world, the judgments go big, and you guys make it even bigger. You know, so I want you to understand. Okay, I'm gonna leave him. Job security and all that. No, this guy's great. And he's incredible, and I hope you guys get a chance to enjoy his development. But let's let him do some development. Who? God, that's too many mics.
In the middle. You mentioned earlier that people don't really get it, maybe people who don't understand track get it. You've used the word generational a couple times. What does make Nyckoles Harbor generational? Can you kind of explain that if people maybe don't know about track or definitely not as much as you do?
23 miles an hour when everybody else run 22. And the further you take 23 miles an hour, the faster the ground you cover. And when little people that are 6 foot, 5'5", his stride length is, so he's putting down the same number of strides, 57 strides to run 100, and he puts down 51. So 51 beating 57. I mean, math. It's how his length is longer, his frequency is the same.
Curtis, I know you're a humble man and you guys are going back and forth complimenting each other, but I remember a couple of years ago when they opened up the new track facility and we were walking around talking to you about it, just the improvement in track and field and how some programs, they kind of tend to forget about it. How important can that be, especially in a case like with Nyckoles Harbor, being able to have those facilities, because it could be one of those things that he looks at and he might have decided not to come here because it just wasn't kept up to par.
Well, I think the size of our track, the one thing we do have is the world's fastest track. We may not have the world's greatest building. Nick interested in how great our building was. He ran fast. He run fast on the parking lot. You know, it's great ones. They just have to be. It's the SEC athletes. It doesn't matter where you put them. We've changed facilities constant in the SEC. Kentucky 300 flat, Arkansas not quite as high, 200 flat. We go to Clemson to run because ours and Clemson are the two highest tracks in the country, and ours is wider than anybody else in the country, and it's got a double radius. Well, he's going to run really fast at home. His parents go 4 times to come see him run at home. You know, there'll be some changes because you guys will be in the room some. So in turn, that means ESPN is going to show the building. When ESPN shows the building, then we're going to put some lipstick on the building. So it'll change. You know, athletes cause change, and that's what's great. University of South Carolina has improved more than anybody in the country in my 26 years here. Our facilities stand up to everybody's facilities in the country. He can choose, a great athlete can choose to be at South Carolina.
Coach, with Nick, first, I know he has the number 1 300 time in the country right now. Do you see using him as like a long sprinter or like 4x4 type of guy at all? And second, how do you kind of navigate the training process with, getting someone from football shape into track shape when, he's maybe coming in a little later than some of the other guys who are starting running, at the beginning of the semester?
I love your question. You'd had to be in the room to listen to Nick last week, because most of the time you patronize people who say they want to do something. Everybody wants to run fast, but they don't want to work hard to run fast. But this guy indicated that this year he's going to run the anchor leg on a 4x4 and run 45 seconds. The sprinters don't say stuff like that. They want to know, how quick can I get out the field? I sprinted, but a mile relay was never a goal of mine. That's painful. But when a kid says stuff like, I ran 395 meters in 45 seconds, and if my team needs me, I'm going to run them down and I'm going to run a mile relay. Well, that's just tells me the work he puts in to do that. That's a different guy. We'll have to change that for him. He is somebody that's committed to being the very best that he can be. And he's thought about wide out too. He's thought about that stuff. He's not, hey, he's special. And so, and he's smart. He will be a doctor. He's got Nigerian parents. Medicine is a part of what he wants to be. Eventually one day, he's going to be all of that. So he can be everything that he says, and it has been done. There was a Rhodes Scholar that played football at Florida State, and he played in the NFL. He didn't run in the Olympics. I think that's enough, guys. I'm too thrilled and excited, man. Get me another, man. Is there another one you know somewhere?